Christmas Truce of 1914. On Christmas Eve and Christmas Day 1914, soldiers on the Western Front experienced an unofficial ceasefire. British and German troops ventured into no man's land, exchanged gifts, sang carols, and even played soccer together. This moment of peace was not planned by military leaders, but emerged spontaneously from the soldiers' desire for a brief respite from the war. Carrier pigeons were vital for communication during the war, especially when other methods failed. These pigeons carried messages across enemy lines with remarkable reliability. One pigeon, named Cher Ame, became famous for delivering a crucial message despite being injured, saving the lives of nearly 200 soldiers. Animal contributions. Animals played diverse roles during WW1. Horses were essential for transportation and cavalry charges. Dogs acted as messengers, search and rescue helpers, and mascots. Cats helped control rats on ships, and even elephants were employed by the British for heavy lifting. Chemical warfare. WW1 was the first major conflict to use chemical weapons like chlorine, phosgene, and mustard gas. These chemicals caused severe injuries and suffering, leading to the development of gas masks and protective gear. The horrors of chemical warfare eventually contributed to international agreements like the 1925 Geneva Protocol to ban such weapons. The lost generation. This term refers to the disillusioned group of writers and artists who were profoundly affected by the war. They struggled with the war's impact and often expressed their disillusionment through their work. Notable figures included Ernest Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald, who captured the war's emotional and social aftermath in their writing. Women's war effort. The war dramatically shifted gender roles as women stepped into jobs traditionally held by men. They worked in factories, served as nurses, and took on roles in military administration. Their significant contributions during the war were pivotal in advancing women's rights and suffrage movements. The war before WW2. Before World War II, WW1 was simply known as the Great War. It was only after the Second Global Conflict that it was labeled World War I, reflecting the unprecedented scale and impact of both wars on the world. Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles, which formally ended the war, imposed severe penalties and reparations on Germany. These harsh terms contributed to economic hardships and political instability in Germany, factors that played a role in the rise of Adolf Hitler and the subsequent outbreak of WW1. Propaganda's power. Both sides used extensive propaganda to influence public opinion and boost morale. Posters, films, and other media were used to demonize the enemy, encourage enlistment, and promote war bonds. This propaganda often relied on exaggerated or emotional portrayals. Technological advances. WW1 saw rapid advancements in technology. Tanks, airplanes, and submarines were introduced and used extensively. Tanks were designed to overcome trench warfare, while airplanes were used for both reconnaissance and combat. The war also accelerated developments in radio communication and military technology. Cultural impact. The war had a profound effect on art and culture. It influenced movements like modernism and dadaism, with artists and writers expressing the war's impact on their work. This period saw a shift in how art reflected and responded to the harsh realities of the war. Siegfried Sassoon's critique. Siegfried Sassoon, a British poet and soldier, was known for his powerful and often critical poetry about the war. Despite being a decorated soldier, his poems criticized the war and its leaders, making him a controversial but significant literary figure. Collapse of the Ottoman Empire. WW1 led to the downfall of the Ottoman Empire, one of the Central Powers. The empire's collapse resulted in the creation of several new nations in the Middle East, including Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, reshaping the region and setting the stage for future conflicts. Spanish flu pandemic. The Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1919 occurred towards the end of WW1 and was one of the deadliest pandemics in history. It spread rapidly, infecting a large portion of the global population and causing millions of deaths, further complicating the post-war recovery. U.S. impact. The entry of the United States into WW1 in 1917 provided a significant boost to the Allied powers. American troops and resources played a crucial role in turning the tide of the war and were instrumental in the Allied victory.